think it's a shame most of the laser weapons are disappointing, because I think they look really cool, and the Man Melter is no different.
And the Man Melter is very underwhelming, and as such is the topic of today's episode.
But the Man Melter, there is just no strong incentive to use this item.
In comparison to the other Flareguns, the Man Melter is really, really terrible.
Hello there.
Why are you running? Why are you running? I'm gonna lay you out.
Man Melter is a pyro Flaregun style secondary that has an old firegun encryption stage for extinguishing running stages. It also has a fast propulsion speed. The Man Melter isn't as bad as most people would make it out to be. Even though it's pretty niche, it's fairly strong at what it does. But it doesn't gain this reputation for no reason. If we wanted to start with the negatives, let's look at some of the bugs. There is literally a 1/3 chance that you will blind yourself when you shoot this thing.
Throwing flashbang.
If you hold left and right click at the same time, it will delete all of your stored crits. The suck effect decides to just sometimes just not exist. And if you try to put out a friendly pyro who's been lit on fire by the gas passer, you will not get a crit. Also not helping is the fact that this thing feels like shit to use. Your monkey brain will go, ooh, flare gun, I know how to shoot flare gun, because every other flare gun projectile moves at an identical speed and even looks pretty similar, but the projectile speed bonus inherent to the Man Melter is just enough to ruin your muscle memory if you're used to actually having to aim. I mean actually having to aim. Yeah, like that. On top of the speed difference, the only reload animation is this tiny little spark alongside your microwave going off. I sound mad. Okay, all that being said, the Man Melter has some serious strengths. First off, like other flare guns, it deals full afterburn. This combos especially well as a wombo combo with the Dragon's Fury. Light them up with a Man Melter crit as you get into the Dragon's Fury's massive range, then follow up with a fiery meat shot dealing 180 damage before afterburn. It's also a very good range extender, allowing you to finish off that pesky scout that just ran out of your range. It is the most effective way of putting other players out, solving the Dragon's Fury problem of your idiot team getting rushed by a pyro and then having to politely ask your team to form an orderly line in order to be put out. The Flog combo is also notable. You go from being this pure DPS class with a Scorch Shot to countering that very same loadout with the Man Melter. Not only cucking the enemy Scorch Shot spammer, but then spinning those very same crits back at his team, who he cannot put out, leading to a fast charging Flog. And hopefully, you'll Flog charge and kill him before he does it to you. Seriously, I love Scorch Shot pyros on the enemy team because sometimes it just turns into infinite crits. I would also argue that it's Pyro's best anti-sniper tool. It's pretty hard to see the projectile, and even if you do, due to the increased speed of the projectile, it's hard to move out of the way when you've scoped in. You also never have to follow up. It does over 125 damage with afterburn on a crit, and therefore forces the sniper to leave the sightline for health. As a side note, due to being the only flare gun not to require a burning enemy, it's the only flare gun that can crit submerged players. That being said, the Man Melter really isn't a combo weapon. Combo weapon. You'd be better off with any other flare gun in that case. It's not even really that great as a finisher. Instead, we want to take advantage of its suck and use it to mitigate bad to non-existent air blast on the unconventional flamethrowers. I think a lot of people's problem with the Man Melter comes from A, the bugginess of weapon, which I will not defend, and B, them comparing it to the other flare guns when it really shouldn't even be in the same category. It fills this unique role among the flare guns. Air blast mitigation and fast crits. Even the Scorch Shot, with all the things it does, can't put out teammates. The detonator has great harassment and mobility. The stock flare gun is consistent and straightforward. The Scorch Shot, but the Man Melter helps with support, the neutral game, infinite spam, and making snipers salty, which I will always support. As for changes I would personally make to the weapon, I'd love to see most of the bugs be fixed obviously, but there's also a need for an actual reload animation, and to make that tiny sound for when it's ready to fire way louder. I'd also like to see the projectile somehow made less invisible. Aside from against snipers, it feels like it's kind of bullshit that the projectile blends into the background. Maybe we should make it less transparent and more noticeably team-colored. More on the balance end though, I think it's fine in its current game state. I'd like to see the change suggested by Zesty where it gets rid of other debuffs except bleed, Girardi being really the main one. But other than that, it's one of the more balanced pyro secondaries. We would also need to look into it, as well as a few other pyro weapons if we nerfed the meta-defining Scorch Shot, but that's a video for another day.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Hey, that's the end of the video. I just wanted to take this time post-editing to thank my friend Max. She helps out a lot with scripting these videos and supplies literally half of the footage. I couldn't do it without her. I also just wanted to say this is my first real video, I guess, and if you want more, you should like and subscribe and all that cringe bullshit. But thanks for watching. It really means a lot.